First up, while voting is underway for the crucial elections in Israel as its longest-serving Prime Minister Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu goes head-to-head with Israel's former military chief Benny Gantz. Now, the deadlocked contest, as predicted by many opinion polls, will see Netanyahu's Likud party and Gantz's blue and white party vie for support from smaller parties, specifically the Yisrael Beitenu, which is expected to play kingmaker. Now, earlier today, Benjamin Netanyahu himself and his wife Sarah casted their ballot in Jerusalem. Israelis across the country are casting their votes for the second time in just 5 months. Netanyahu and his main rival Benny Gantz have both taken tough positions on Israel's security, which has been a key issue for Israelis historically as well as this time around. What sets them apart, though, is their ideology, with Gantz being the favorite among the country's more moderate centrist voters.
בחירות צמודות, אני יכול לאשר לכם הבוקר הן צמודות מאוד. אני קורא לכל אזרחי ישראל לבוא ולהצביע, כמו שאני ואשתי באנו להצביע. לא אומר לכם מה, כן? שיהיה בהצלחה. תודה.
שלום לכם, שלום לאזרחי ישראל, רעייתי, אני ומשפחתי שמחים לפתוח את הבוקר במהלך מאוד חשוב לדמוקרטיה הישראלית, הצבעה. אני קורא לכל אזרחי ישראל ללכת ולהצביע כפי צו מצפונם. אני אשכרה ממליץ לכם כחול לבן, אבל מכבד כל החלטה. חשוב מאוד שכולם יממשו את זכותם, שהיא חובה אזרחית מהמעלה הראשונה. כל אחד שלא יושב בבית לא לוקח אחריות על מה שיקרה כאן. אנחנו רוצים תקווה חדשה, אנחנו מצביעים לשינוי היום, אנחנו נצליח להביא תקווה, נצליח להביא שינוי, ללא שחיתות, ללא קיצוניות, כולם ביחד שיהיה לנו יום מוצלח בכל הארץ.
Now, the most observable impact of these elections, at least on the world stage, would be how the new Prime Minister deals with Palestine, with Netanyahu taking a much more vocal stand with his decision to annex the Jewish settlements in the West Bank and the Jordan Valley. Both Netanyahu and his challenger Benny Gantz visited the Western Wall the previous night to hold a prayer at the Jewish holy site. Our West Asia Bureau Chief Daniel Pagani is now joining us for the latest on the elections underway in Israel. And Daniele, well, it's certainly make or break for Netanyahu. A lot at stake for him. Give us the details.
I think make or break is the most perfect sentence that we can use to describe these elections. If Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu does not win this round of election, his political career might be over. And the fact that he keeps posting tweets and he keeps going on video and on Facebook Live telling to his voters that Arabs are voting en masse, the left-wing are voting en masse, therefore he's asking all the Likud supporters to get out and vote for him, is a sign of how much worried he is. But why is he so worried? Well, in a fortnight he's going to a pre-trial for 3 charges of bribery and corruption that he has. If he doesn't manage to win the election, even if he doesn't manage to put together a coalition and pass eventually a law which will grant him immunity, this might be the end of his political career and the beginning of a judiciary nightmare for him.
Absolutely. And Daniele, also now smaller parties are likely to play kingmaker in this election as well, and that would be the key. Which side can draw the numbers when it comes to the smaller parties?
Absolutely, yes, you correctly pointed out the enormous strength that the small parties have here in Israel. It is part of the Israeli system. So the Israeli society is multi-layered. There are different segments of the society, Russian-speaking Jews, Ethiopian-speaking Jews, and also all the Jews coming from the Middle East and North Africa. They have all parties that represent their very own interest. Small parties, even with a few seats, 2 or 3, and they can make the difference because at the end of the day, there is no single party that has ever won the majority in the Israeli parliament. So the coalition game is a very big game. And particularly one party which is called Israel Our Home, which is led by the former defense minister, who was the one who made the government collapse in April, will perhaps be the kingmaker. It seems that he gathered more consensus and he can have maybe even 7 seats, which are seats that Benjamin Netanyahu very much needs if he wants to secure a coalition.
All right, Daniele, we leave it at that for the moment, but of course keep coming back to you for more through the day and tomorrow for the latest on those elections. And well, if you missed anything, here's all you need to know about the Israeli elections in a nutshell.
Why is the country going to polls again? In the April elections, Netanyahu failed to gather a majority government. As a second shot, Netanyahu forced parliament to dissolve, triggering repeat elections. What is different this time? Netanyahu's former defense minister, Avigdor Lieberman, prevented a coalition earlier. Lieberman has the support of secular voters. Who is Netanyahu's main challenger? Netanyahu's main challenger remains Israel's former army chief, Benny Gantz. However, Lieberman is likely to have a say over who becomes Israel's next leader. What will happen? While both Netanyahu and Gantz may come out ahead, it's even possible they will join together under a unity government. The big wild card is another stalemate, which could lead to a third election in January. What has Netanyahu promised? Israeli sovereignty in the Jordan Valley and 30% annexation of the occupied West Bank, which Palestinians want as a future state. What's the role of smaller parties? Avigdor Lieberman of the right-wing secular Yisrael Beitenu party is an ally turned rival of Netanyahu. He could end up holding the balance of power. The role of Arab Israeli voters. Arab citizens of Israel could deprive Netanyahu of a majority if there's a robust turnout of the minority community. How will the results affect India? Anti-terrorism cooperation, military technology and weapons lie at the core of India-Israel friendship, which has remarkably grown during Narendra Modi's earlier tenure. Status quo is likely to remain the same.